raised in the Tobagos. We growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego. We pass it round hot potato. Everything is nuevo. I'm with my sweetie like Quavo. Need my cheese, need that queso. Need my bread, need that bankroll. Wake up, yes, Lord, I'm thankful. Another day on my schedule. Steady blocking the devil. I tell a hater, God bless you. Cherish moments that's special. You gotta keep the memento. If you love me, then I love you, and I could never forget you. Some memories don't fade. Sometimes you miss the old days, but nothing changed unless you change what's around you. How you.
Ooh, boy, that is fire. I'm sorry.
You ain't lying. I was like, I just want to listen to the song.
I know every time. That opening is fire. I love
it. Nothing changed unless you change.
You got to listen to the words to it, brother. It is so deep. It is so deep, deep, deep. Welcome, everyone, to Two Black Authors. This is our special broadcast. And, brother, I love you, Brother Monk.
This is the bonus edition today.
The bonus Thursday bonus edition. I'm Rev Skip. This is my brother Monk Eternal, and my brother from another mother. But there's something much more deeper with our connection in so many different ways. I'm just like almost speechless sometimes, where I realize what we have in common.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have. I mean, besides our age, really, that huge age difference. I mean, yeah.
Oh, really? You going there? Right.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call 20 years a huge difference, but for some people.
But no one would know that you're 20 years older than me, brother. Nobody would know that. But now they do.
It's amazing, right?
I love you, my brother. I love you. This is the Clean Machine Show, and we are talking about something that's very important to BAM, baby. We're talking about something that's really important, and we've said this a couple times on our show about how important plant-based eating is, and it is the medicine. It is what we are called to move into when we talk about this, brother, how important plant-based is.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
That's where we're going.
This is what's going to be about. It's not only going to be about that, but it's going to be about well, you're just going to have to wait and listen. Stay on here and listen, because you are going to learn something today.
But this is our Clean Machine Show, and you are an athlete, but I'm an affiliate with a program and with a company that really is changing the planet. Plant-based, I believe, is one of the things that we must all shift to globally to heal this planet globally. One of the shifts that we talked about.
It's the only thing that's sustainable for this planet. I mean, we're killing the planet with animal agriculture and just the amount of resources it takes to raise these animals up just to kill them. The pollution that is creating, it's way more pollution. It's the number one cause of our bad air around here is animal agriculture. I mean, they have the bathroom, their waste gets into the water systems. They're cutting down forests. They're clear cutting, trees down to raise these animals for slaughter. And then in return, the animals are killing us. Yeah. So
that's our mission. Changing the planet. And I have a little dog. Her name's Tucker, and my roommate and I, we rescued Tucker from an animal shelter, and I look in her eyes and going, hold up, I can't eat these meat products anymore because I love Tucker so much.
Right. And you're not the only one that made the connection through a dog or a pet, because they've seen almost the humanness in them. What I'm saying? The feelings, the emotions, the joy, the sadness, all that. And when you understand that animals have that, then you don't want to be a part of any of that suffering anymore.
So I always say this at the end of shows all the time. And whenever we're together, I learn so much from you on a for real note. I mean, we're both students and teachers to each other, but you turned me on to this brother, and I'm very connected to this brother, Geoff Palmer, who is actually changing the plan through the company. And I'm following his videos. He's fire, man. He's a real deal.
Yeah, he's a real deal. Yeah, well, he's been a vegan for 30 plus years now. When it wasn't so easy to be a vegan, you know what I'm saying? You had about tofu, and that was it. Yeah. Nowadays, the menu for a vegan is endless. I mean, you can eat anything that you would eat as a meat eater as a vegan. They have substitutes for everything.
So what we're going to do is let's roll the video, and then we're going to bring him into this conversation that we're having. This high consciousness conversation, I like to call it.
Well, what video are you going to roll now?
Well, I found this one online. I don't know. This is fire though. This is good. You ready for this?
Let's do it. Let's roll it.
Let's do it.
Pumping up the iron at number 40, Geoff Palmer.
Vegan bodybuilder Geoff Palmer is the CEO and owner of Clean Machine, a natural and plant-based sports and nutrition supplement company that is making waves with their newly launched Clean Green Protein, which is the most nutrient-dense protein powder from plants.
Geoff Palmer is showing that you can be an amazing bodybuilder over 40 years of age.
The dude is fit.
I think public figures like Geoff, who are appealing to a slightly older demographic, is so important because so many of the public figures out there and so much of the advocacy is geared towards younger audiences like millennials. So I think it's really important we do have that range, and we do have people that show that it doesn't matter if you're over 40, you can still achieve what you want and still thrive, and you can do it on a vegan diet.
The dude is fit, yo. Do you see the sister say that? The dude is fit. Hey, Geoff, what's happening, brother? How are you, man?
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be on the show with you guys. It's well, with you, and specifically because Monk and I go way back a bit. So,
we were soul brothers before we were soul brothers.
Okay, I love that. Well, why don't you just tell us, how'd you meet Monk? And I love the fact that it was said in the video that you are gearing to the older demographic, and Monk is definitely the older demographic.
Hey, it's funny. I know that video is a little old, so they said over 40. I'm actually 57 years of age. And that's 57.
Okay, truth be told, I'm 56. Monk, you are?
I'm awesome.
You did. No, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. How'd you guys meet?
Online, Facebook. I go onto the websites looking for people who are really representing well, plant-based and good physical condition, who are inspiring. Because I was at a veg fest, and a woman came right up to me and said, "You're vegan?" Obviously, I had a vegan shirt on too, and she says, "You're vegan?" I'm guessing. I said, "Yeah." She goes, "How do you get arms like that being vegan?" And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I worked out for the health of it. I was a junior Olympic swimmer back in high school and college, and I just always maintained my healthiness. And, I was like, oh, wait a minute. That can be an avenue to communicate to people, to inspire people. Why not use the tools that you're given, to help initiate conversation, get people's minds to start thinking, let them start to question where they're coming from, what their values are, what their food choices are. So I thought, wow, this is a powerful tool. So I'm always looking for people who, other people will go, wow, you look incredible. How do you do that? How do you do that? And engage that conversation. When I saw Monk, I was like, wow, great physique, plant-based, that's cool. But that's not what got me to contact him.
Yeah.
When I saw Monk showing a picture of him holding a sign, Monk, tell what that sign had on that.
It's basically saying that I wanted to help people strengthen their bodies without using animals to do it. Basically, is the short of it.
It was a powerful moment, and I saw him standing there in public at the beach holding that sign. And I saw the power of his conviction. Wow. I said, that's somebody I want to align with. Yeah. And that's when I reached out to him. And I said, we got on the phone, had conversations, and I said, you have an amazing physique. You need to be sharing this on the big stage. And Monk had never competed before. And I said, let's do this together. And we got to share the stage together.
5 weeks later, I was in Texas competing. For the first time.
Incredible. Normally, for those of you who don't know, natural bodybuilders, it's much harder and takes longer to get into competition state. Right. So it takes about 16 to 20 weeks, depending on your starting point. Monk was five weeks from the time he committed to that show shredded, like peeled.
But one thing I learned about Monk, and just in the short time I've known him, but it feels like a lifetime in a very good way. When he commits to something, he's full in. He's full in. He's like, he told me one of the things we're working on another project. He's releasing a book, and I got to mentor him through his first book release. And he says, Skip, you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. Right then, I was like, okay, this is the brother I get to play with now in this realm. So Monk, yes. Yeah.
When I talked to Geoff too, I mean, he's like, would you be interested in, I think the exact words I said was, what kind of question is that? Or something. It's like, what, like, are you serious? Right. Because I love what he was doing.
Yeah.
You know, and to even offer me to be a part of that is amazing. So it was a no-brainer. And I probably would have never competed ever if I wouldn't have, if he wouldn't have took me in. Because I always talked about, people was like, back in the day, you should compete, you should compete. And this even when I was eating, meat. And I was thinking that every competition was always the little panties and, but there's different divisions, there's different categories in bodybuilding. I didn't know.
This is a grassroots movement that what Monk is talking about, because Monk met Geoff, and Monk met me, invited me to be a part of Clean Machine. This is that grassroots movement. Geoff, is this the success that you're seeing by word of mouth? Because I'm telling everybody I know now about Clean Machine. Everybody.
Well, thank you for that. And yes, this is how real, true grassroots movements happens. It's word of mouth. And there is nothing more powerful than someone coming from a place of firsthand experience talking about that. So I had been in the natural products industry and supplements because I was all about health. I said, okay, when I became vegan, I wanted to share that. I wanted to pay it forward. I wanted to say, all right, this is such an amazing, powerfully positive impact on my life. How can I present that to other people? And I've never been dogmatic or pushy. I've never told people, oh, you need to do this. What I wanted to do was inspire them. I wanted to show them something that they wanted, because that's where my change came from. When I was dealing with clinical depression, suicidal depression. I had lost my mother, I'd lost my father, I'd lost my brother to mental illness. My whole family unit was just falling apart. And I was raised in a very close, tight-knit family. And we had very progressive values of inclusiveness, of openness, of lovingness. And I wasn't feeling that from the vast majority of the people I was encountering at work or in social environments. And I was like, God, do I even belong here? Where does a loving, caring, especially male at that time, human being, regardless, and where do I fit in a place that was aggressive and taking and judgmental and isolatory and all these classifications, the sexism, the racism, the speciesism? It's like, what am I doing here? Am I in the right? Was I born into the right place? And struggling with that, I got into drugs and alcohol just to try to numb this emotional pain, this deep emotional pain of feeling conflicted about being here. And I really knew inside my heart of hearts, I'm a good person. I have a lot of love to give, but I don't feel where that's connecting from. And I met this woman. She was just beamingly happy. And she walked into a bar. I was getting drunk again another night. And, and I just saw her happiness. And I walked right up to her. I know I freaked her out a little bit. And I just said, look, I want what you have. Can you teach me how to be happy? I was that desperate. I was ready to end it all for the last time. Already 2 attempts on my life that failed, thankfully. And she said, let me take you to someone. He's a Native American healer. He healed me. I said, I was a cynic at this point. I I passed the Mensa exam for IQ. So I thought, okay, if my brain is all that great, right? Genius IQ, I should be able to figure this out. Why was I not able to figure this out? Because it wasn't in my head. It was here that I was hurting. It was here that I was missing the connection. It's not here. And so we went to his place and he opened the door and I went to walk in and he looked at me right in the eyes and blocked the doorway and wouldn't let me in. And I was like, wow, that's a little rude. What's going on there? So I looked up into his eyes and I could see him look into me. And he said, oh, you came here to prove me wrong. I was just like, oh my God, I have never felt so naked in my life before. Someone saw me for the first time. And in an instant, he saw me. He saw my pain. He saw my anger. He saw my frustration with life. And he saw it like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm game. Look, I have nothing to lose. I'm about to give it all. I'm about to toss in all the chips right now anyway. So I walked in, sat down, just started talking about nothing, I thought. And then he stopped and he said, it's about your father. And I'm like, I didn't even mention him. And he goes, you don't need to. I know where that comes from. I'm like, okay, my father was an alcoholic. And I was dealing with having an alcoholic father, of having an absent father, an emotionally disconnected father, of having someone who chose alcohol over me and died because of it at 18. And I was so filled with anger. At the same time, I had so much love for my father.
Yeah.
There was these two conflicting forces. How can you love someone and hate them and resent them for what they did? And he just said, okay, let's try this one thing. Let me work with you on this. He goes, say this one sentence back to me. I created the separation between my father and myself by, and fill in the blank.
Yes.
So I did that and I said something that he did. And he goes, no, that's something he did. Tell me how you created that separation. And as I kept repeating this and he kept saying, no, how did you create the separation?
Yeah.
I kept feeling the onion layers, the excuses, the rationalities all start peeling away. And I got close and close and the world disappeared and I was black in the darkness with my own pain and anger. And I just burst out and the tears just poured down. I mean, gut-wrenching, soul-deep crying to the point where my stomach and my cheeks were hurting because I was so tense. And all that released. And when I did, all that love for my father came through. And the empathy for my father came through. And I said, I saw his pain. I saw he was hurting. He was struggling with the same thing that I was. Struggling with how do you be a loving, caring, decent human being in a world that's so different from you.
Yeah. You know, that these are powerful stories. And Monk and I have always talked about how we've come together through, and we've had these similar stories with our father. I'm still working with the shaman on loving myself and loving my father. Mm-hmm. And I had the same similar experience. I was in ceremony and it was just dawned on me. I've been carrying this energy, all my addictions I've been dealing with, everything that I didn't like about myself, not liking myself because, you know, for being black or being gay or for this, it was a healing energy around my father.
Mm-hmm. That all of us are so similar. When it
comes it's not just us, it's all over. It's because society has pushed these, you know, what a male is in society. You know, you have to be cold, you have to be strong, you have to be emotionally distant, disconnected. No, you don't. And that's killing us. Why do we have heart attacks at a higher rate? Why do we have ulcers at a higher rate? Why are we dying at a faster rate? Because we're holding our true emotional self back. And it's not just us, it's everyone. And
I'm saying the similarities with the alcoholism and the abandonment and all these other things. I had a situation that happened with someone contacting me, actually video contacted me on on Facebook the other day, that really brought, and I shared it with Skip, but it really brought out some really repressed emotions with me.
Do you want to share it, Monk? Do you feel
Huh?
like do you want to share it, or do you want to share it? Do you
Well,
do you want to share it now?
I think, well, a guy contacted me on social media, and it was a video time on Messenger, and I usually don't answer that. And I can tell the story now, but I couldn't. I was a wreck when I first started telling the story. So I answered it anyways, and it was a guy I'd never heard of. He had a name from another country. He's from another country. And I started talking to him, and he starts telling me, how I affected his life, and just my post and my energy and the things I was doing really changed his life. And I was like, wow, I'm glad I answered this call.
Mm.
This call was, at first it was, I was like, that's amazing that he would call me up and, say these great things about me. And then he hit me with, I'm going to be dying in 7 weeks. And I just wanted to tell you that before, right? I was destroyed. I was talking to him. I didn't know what to say. I said, only thing I could get out was, I love you and I'm here for you. That's all I could get out, right? And he was crying. I was crying. He said, I was like, so after all that happened, I was a wreck, right? I was trying to explain this story to Tammy, and I couldn't even get it out. I was done. So I said, I'm gonna go lay down. So I went and laid down. And then afterwards, I said, I'm gonna go for a bike ride. I needed to go for a bike ride. I needed to get out. Then I got a text from his account inbox saying, this is this man's brother, and he had passed away. And he said he had mentioned our video chat, and he was so thankful that I had that conversation with him. But I think it really brought up something about my father and some stuff that I was holding back. I don't know how that connection happened, but so much emotion. I didn't even know this guy, just came out and would not stop. Yeah, and that happened maybe a week and a half ago, but it changed my life, that experience.
That is powerful, brother. So powerful.
Indeed. And that's like the quality relationships. What we're seeing right here is when we can go deep like this and share with other people, it heals. It heals. Because it's one of the things that I felt during depression is, in depression, you have that bubble. And it's a disconnection with other people. It's a disconnection with yourself. It's a disconnection with your source. It's a disconnection with other people. In that moment when I had that breakthrough, the tears were falling. I mean, I've never cried so hard in my life. I ran out of my water out of my eyes because I cried so hard. But when I released that, oh my God, the love that was pouring through me, I reconnected to my father. I refound that love. I took away the hate and the anger that was blocking me from getting that energy flow out. What I didn't realize is, in that one relationship, when I unblocked that energy, I unblocked the energy to myself.
Yeah.
I unblocked the energy to the world around me. I unblocked the energy to my friends, my family, to the animals. It just exploded my circle of love.
And then there's freedom in that too, because, Geoff, I have always wanted to hide the fact, over 25 years being HIV positive, because there was so much shame in that. And to me, there was so much shame. There's so much shame in my addiction being HIV positive. And I wanted to And once I had that moment of feeling, what we call in the Hindu and in spirituality, samadhi, where I was one with everything, and there was no body, there was no mind. I was just immersed into the vortex of God. I came out going, I'm free to talk about what I deem to be ugly. I'm free to now share. And when I began of recent telling people about my things that I've gone through, people were coming out of the woodworks going, oh my God, I never knew. Thank you for sharing that. And me being a fitness trainer for 30 years and group fitness, I wanted to have this persona that Skip was all good, that I didn't have anything to go through. But finding that deep love gave me the freedom to share. I don't even focus on the HIV. I focus on the victory of what I have done for the last 25 years in touching people's lives and finding this pathway of veganism and taking care of myself. This message is a message of victory.
I think my mistake was I had issues with my father. I mean, he passed away when I was 4. And the stories I heard were not good. And I remember little bits and pieces, but I my mom used to say, well, he was this, and this, but he loved you. Right. So as I got older and people would say, well, where's your dad at? And I would tell them, I was like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's a long time ago or whatever, but I never really dealt with it. And I ended up being exactly what my mom said my father was. Right. So I never dealt with it, and not dealing with it, it built up a lot of stuff within me where I felt I needed to drink or do something to distract me and not to deal with whatever I needed to deal with.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what got me to the place of, well, I don't know what to do anymore. And I think a lot of people, they will say like, oh, no big deal, no big deal. It's not a big deal, but it really is a big deal. Yes, and if you don't deal with it, it's gonna become a bigger deal.
So Geoff,
almost took my life.
What do you think? I mean, we're all feeling this low-grade depression right now. I know we talk about our own personal things that we are experiencing. And I feel that the whole entire earth is feeling this heaviness of where we're at with COVID and being still some places we're still in lockdown. We're still here. What is your take on this? And can you speak to this global, I'm going to call it global energy of feeling depressed? Everyone I'm talking to is feeling this. So can you speak to this?
Yeah, and Monk wrote a great book about this.
Yeah.
Love and fear. There are two forces in the world, and love and fear. And right now there is a lot of fear being spread, being propagated by people. And there are people that are using fear as a power tool, right? As a power to control other people. Because fear is such a powerful emotion for human beings. The only thing stronger than it is love. And that it is easy to get a fear reaction out of somebody. And if you just poke the right fear, you can get a fear response 99% of the time out of people. And the people in power use fear to control other people. Because all you have to do is poke them in that way that they'll react out of fear, and then just keep poking them and they'll keep reacting, and they'll stop acting from a place of love. They'll be in reaction mode instead of action mode. Coming from the place of themselves, they are responding to the external stimulus. And that's what, meditation is such a great job. And I thank Monk, when I saw you in your white meditation garb the other day, it just made me want to go right out and meditate right on the side.
That's a fire.
Thank you for the inspiration on that.
I love that picture, man.
But we got to go inside and reconnect with the beautiful human beings that we are inside.
Yeah.
And we got to nurture that right now, even more so than others. Nurture each other by reminding, because it's so easy with the news and the politics and the social media, negative. It's so easy to start to get into reactive mode in that, and it snowballs. We have to be powerful right now and say, no, I'm not going to buy into that. I'm not going to react to that comment on Facebook. Delete, block. That's it. I'm going to stay positive on my message.
Block. I love
Hey,
it.
I'm good at sidestepping now. I'll just be like,
Is that your delete block move, brother?
no, I'm sidestepping. They can miss me.
You're doing Heisman Trophy, you know.
Exactly.
I got to speak to that, Geoff. What you're talking about, sometimes it's challenging to delete block. I'm doing it now because if I don't know you to say happy birthday to you on Facebook, if I don't have that connection, I'm feeling this thing of I got to let that go. Because what's really super important to me now is these relationships that is really connecting with where I'm at.
Yes.
Like if you're going to be giving some hate, I just can't follow you.
But you know what, Skip? If you're gonna go to the gutter, you got to go to the gutter to clean it up.
I know, I'm there. I'm in the gutter. I'm okay with going to the gutter. I'm going.
That's why I found you.
Well, anyway, one gutter brother to another gutter brother. That's when you found me. Then you were up in the gutter with me. Anyway, let me go back to Geoff. Hold on, Geoff. I want to have a conversation with you. That I'm saying delete block is such a good thing to remember.
Yes. Well, and look, if you can find yourself in a centered and empowered place and respond to somebody's hate or criticism or judgment with, I love you anyway, and I'm here to help you. It sounds like you're struggling a little bit. If you can do that with true sincerity, not sarcasm, not sardonic, not, a blind slap in the face kind of comment.
We had this conversation yesterday. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, we did.
As long as you come from a centered and loving place,
yes,
you can have these conversations.
You can engage them. And I've had conversations where people are pointedly just nasty, mean and nasty.
Oh, I remember one guy who attacked you. I remember that guy.
And stop that.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. But look, when you put out a strong positive thing, there are going to be people who want to bring you down. When you're in a negative place, you want to surround your place with negative. When you're a positive place, you want to surround yourself with positive. But I think if you are in a strongly positive place, you have the opportunity to try to change things around. And look, it took 5 or 6 emails of going back and forth before the guy finally said, look, I apologize. I see where you're coming from. We don't even have to agree. You're a decent person. You really care about what you do. And it changed the whole dynamic of the conversation. It's not easy. And I wouldn't suggest doing it if you don't feel prepared.
You can go down that road.
Centered. If you're going to start feeling reactive, pull yourself back and say, I'm sorry. I just got to take myself out of it. What I've learned is, if you really want to help people, the only way you can help is by being that person that other people want to be, that positive. The best gift I can give to other people is a happy me. And once I lower my vibration, I'm not doing any good. I'm only contributing to the negative.
Yeah. And speaking of good and positive stuff, and I got to ask you a question. How can I get these arms, brother? These doggone biceps. And can we talk about Clean Machine? Because I'm tired of Monk showing off his guns. My guns, I'm working on them again. I used to have bigger guns when I was eating a lot of meat. But I was in that realm of people who thought that I need the amino acids and the beef. And, I was vegan for 9 years. I went back to eating eggs and fish because I thought I needed to have a little bit more. Then I really got real with that conversation of eating eggs and fish wasn't helping me. And I see you and I see Monk's biceps. And I'm going, okay, I'm back in full-heartedly. So last 6 months back in after taking a little hiatus with the pescatarian route, but that wasn't helping me. But let's talk about Clean Machine because this is the real deal, man. Real deal.
Yeah, and Clean Machine was really born. It took me a while, but I wanted to align my workplace with my passions. And in that moment, that powerful moment that changed the trajectory for my life, in that day, that when I came to that aha moment, the Greeks have a word for it, metanoia, which is change of life, a complete change of life. My worldview just changed 360. And I said, okay, it's not that I'm here to get anything. It's what I'm here is to give something. And when I got that, I was like, wow, Because every time you get something, then after a while, it's not as important anymore. It's not as rewarding. And then you have to get something else. And then you have to get something else. And it's just a constant voracious appetite of trying to get to make you happy. And that's not what makes me happy. And that's not what makes most people happy. When you give and you affect somebody else's life, there is nothing more powerful experience. That is a life, breathing life into another life. I mean, how many of you have seen a nursing mother? That is life going directly from one human being into another, nourishing, causing the growth and health of another human being. There is nothing more beautiful and powerful than that. So I said, all right, well, how can I give this back? And I looked at, okay, let's talk fitness and nutrition. These are two main pieces of whole health. Yes, you need proper sleep, exercise, you need to be happy. But exercise and nutrition, you put those together and you've got a major part of that big picture whole. And so that's why I said, all right, but most of the sports nutrition out there for fitness-based nutrition had steroid guys on the cover of the magazines. And I'm like, well, that's drug abuse. That's nothing to do with fitness. And I said, I'm going to do something ambitious. I'm going to attempt to try my best to do my part to help steer nutrition back to where it belongs, with being whole and healthy and nurturing to the body. So my commitment with every single one of the products that I make had to be vegan, obviously, non-GMO, gluten-free, completely natural, no synthetics. And it had to promote health, not fitness at any cost. I wanted fitness and health together. So every single one of my products has that ID in it. And a lot of people, we were 4 years in producing products, and people said, you're a plant-based fitness nutrition company, you don't have a protein. And I said, it's because I don't want to just build a product. Anybody can make a product and sell it. That's not why I'm here. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to go out into nature, go out and read the studies in science and find exceptional plants that are delivering amazing health and healing powers, plants that are not available to the average person, and bring them to market so that people can enjoy these remarkable health benefits. And that's when I found Lentine. I waited and did not produce a plant protein, even though I could have made a lot of money. That's not what I'm about. I'm about helping people. So when I found Lentine, this amazing water plant grows right on the surface of the water, like a little micro lily pad, higher in nutrient density than any other plant. Spirulina, chlorella, kale, spinach, even moringa, which was considered the #1 superfood on planet, is higher in nutrient density. That's all of the nutrients combined in it. The fiber, the essential fatty acids, the protein, higher in protein than pea, rice, hemp, even soy, which was considered the gold standard. This side. Let's see how I did.
Yeah, you're backwards.
Backwards. There's that Nexty Award right there. You can see it. There we go. That is the Nexty Award. That is the top award for all supplements in the United States. And we won it for clean green protein. So, Skip, I know you opened up the clean green protein.
I did. And Monk always teases about me when I did. I opened it up because I had always seen white or chocolate protein. So I'm going, it says green on it. It's cool. I'm going to open it up. It's going to be white. So let me get my orange juice out. It's going to be cool. It was green. I went, oh shit, it's green, yo. I called Monk. I said, Monk, it's green. He said, you just read the label, brother. Read the label. It's for real.
Yeah. I always call Geoff the mad scientist. 99.9% of the stuff that he says, I do not understand, but it sounds super cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he'll have your brain trying to graft on anything that he's saying, and you're just like, this is crazy. How do you even retain the information?
I know. I followed your videos, man.
Your head has a big head. Your head's not even that big to retain all that information.
It's about density, man.
Oh, dense. Okay. I thought when they said people were dense, that means they weren't very smart.
How can Clean Machine help us right now in the middle of COVID? And I know that you
Yes.
have some ideas, and I have had conversations with Monk about why COVID is acting in such a way with people of color. And I know you have some ideas around this, and I would love for you to share some thoughts on this. And how can Clean Machine help people of color, but help the planet? Period. Everyone should be doing Clean Machine. But can you speak to that a little bit, brother?
Yeah. So it's pretty common knowledge now. And look, I am not a doctor or practitioner, so this is not medical advice or anything. This is just me talking about some of the research that is plainly out there for you to go study yourself, and I encourage you to. But there are definitely some nutrients that the body needs to do its immune system. Just like you need protein in order to build muscle, right? It's the building blocks of muscle. You also need nutrients for each one of our systems, including our immune system, to function properly. So about 70 to 90% of immune function is found in our gut. It's called the gullet. But to get around that, really, what you need to look at is our microbiome, right? The little bugs that live in our intestinal tract, over 40 trillion of them. So they actually make up more cells than our body, right? So they are responsible for breaking apart fiber and turning it into these short chain fatty acids. And one of them is called butyrate. Butyrate is a powerful anti-inflammatory. As a matter of fact, that anti-inflammatory is grabbed out of our system. Remember, only fiber is found in plants. Animal products, eggs, dairy, meat, milk, no fiber, zero fiber. The only way you can get fiber is from plants. So high fiber, nutrient dense plants go in there and feed the probiotics, which then create all these butyrates, which cause the anti-inflammation. So let's talk about COVID and how it attacks. It attacks the lungs. And then we have two different immune systems. So the innate, which goes and tries to attack it first, and the adaptive, which then tries to re-regulate the battleground, right? Because if you send warriors onto the battlefield and they just go berserk and start killing everybody, that's not a good thing. And that's what can happen if our innate immune system goes too active without our adaptive immune system coming down and bringing it, normalizing it. So what's happening is when the COVID gets into our lungs, it attacks the lungs, right? Well, our innate system should immediately respond. We're having health issues means that our immune system is already engaged in diabetes, in obesity, in hypertension, in all these other diseases. Well, that lowers the body's ability to do that first innate response well. Conversely, if our body gets freaked out too much, it over-responds. And not only does it start attacking the virus, it can actually start damaging our own cells. And it's our own immune system that can either directly or indirectly be the cause of our death. Because that adaptive response is not coming to chill the innate, chill it out. So what happens is the lungs start to fill with fluid because all this damaging that the fighting is going on, the lungs start to fill with this fluid, and we actually can drown in our own fluid in our lungs. It basically fills up, and that's how a lot of people are dying, because all this innate response with no adaptive response to calm it down. It's called a cytokine storm, right? And that's what's happening in the vast majority of people who have pre-existing health conditions. Is one, we just need to be eating more fiber. What does that mean? Eating more plants. It's the only place fiber comes from.
Yeah.
And that fiber feeds the, so two big things that they found. As soon as that attack happens, our vitamin C levels can drop 50%. And why is that? Our body is using vitamin C, stored vitamin C in the system, to actually bring down that inflammation. That the cytokine storm does. So our body dumps all that vitamin C to bring down the inflammation. The backup source is that butyrate that all our microbiome just created from the fiber. So if you're not consuming plants, which are high in vitamin C, remember, no animal products have vitamin C. Animals don't make vitamin C. That's why we have to get them from food. There are carnivorous animals actually can make vitamin C, but herbivorous, like humans, cannot make our own vitamin C. It's impossible. That's how you can tell a carnivore, an animal that needs to eat meat. And you'll see carnivores, the very first thing that they eat is the stomach of plant eaters. Why? Because they're grabbing some of that fiber and some of the plant nutrients that the animal just ate and eating it by eating what's in their stomach. But vitamin C and fiber. And then finally, the last thing is vitamin D3. These all bring down inflammation. And what's happening is we're not doing that second response well, that adaptive response, allowing our body to adapt to that initial attack of the thing. So fiber from plants, vitamin C from plants, vitamin D3 is not from animals. Vitamin D3 can be got from the sun, but it can also be created by mushrooms and things like this. So there is vegan D3 out there available. Now, why is this so prevalent in people of color? One, eating a lot more processed foods, right? Because they're cheap. And for people who don't have, are on the lower income spectrum and are in food deserts, where the only thing to shop is a 7-Eleven or whatever, you're getting the crappiest, cheapest food. And look, I get it. When I was poor, I ate garbage. I ate Pop-Tarts, right? Because they were cheap, you know? And anybody in that situation.
Cheetos, right. That was me, Cheetos and Sprite.
Yeah, totally. And look, I get it. I get it. But that's not helping the situation. Yeah. And by consuming that fiber, consuming the vitamin C and the vitamin D3. So why D3? Okay. So normally we would get sunlight, right? And that converts D3. So I'm lighter skinned. So for me, a little bit of sunlight converts a lot of D3. Now, for people who were indigenously originally from very hot, very sunny climates, like Africa, like India, darker skinned people, like Hispanic countries, darker skinned people, lots of sunlight. Our body adapted by darkening our skin. So it was more reflective because what we were getting is too much vitamin D from sunlight exposure. So the color of our skin is melanin. It is an adaptive response so that we don't get too much vitamin D3. Okay, so Black people especially, the darker the skin, the more melanin, the less you convert sunlight to vitamin D3. That would be okay in a normal scenario because you're getting exposed to a lot of light. So then you'd be getting the right. Whereas northerners, lighter skin, less light, more conversion. See how our bodies are adapted to do the right thing?
I'm getting all this, but you're right. This brain is deep. His brain is deep. I'm getting it. It makes sense to me, but I'm going.
I see the smoke coming out of your ears.
Coming out of my head, brother. I'm like, I'm getting it, but wow.
The color of our skin is an adaptive response to vitamin D3 so that we don't get too little or too much. That's what our body does, is adapt to this. Now, when you take somebody out of their natural environment and put them indoors, that changes everything. Now they're in a place where you've got someone who should be getting tons of sunlight in natural environment. Now getting no sunlight.
We in the house.
Exactly.
In quarantine. Exactly. I get it.
So the darker the skin, the more deep. They've shown 3 to 5 times more D deficiency, and the darker the skin.
You know, every time you say the darker the skin, you know, I'm laughing at myself. I'm hearing, darker the berry, sweeter juice. That's what I'm hearing. So I'm having a little laughter inside here, Monk. So, question: if I'm just having my clean machine, because I'm doing all my vitamins and everything, I'm doing my D and my B, I'm doing my C extra. Do I just need to do clean machine and I'm good, or do I need to keep adding in the extra stuff I'm doing?
So supplements are just what the word says. They supplement your diet. So what we found though is that our foods have been bred for sweetness and color, because that's what sells. The sweeter they are, the prettier they are, the more we're going to buy them. So farmers are focused on those two things, not on their nutrients. And unfortunately, the nutrition has just dived. So what supplements can do because we should get most of our nutrition from food. But to be honest, the food source is so poor quality that we're buying in the stores. You add, processed foods to that, and then the quality is even lower. So supplements can have their place to make up for the deficiencies that we're seeing in our food supply. And that's where I think supplements can be a great thing, which is find the things that you're missing on. And look, go get yourself tested. If you're D3 deficient, do what it takes to get you there. This is life and death we're talking about right now. Yeah. This is not, I should take D3 because it's good for my health. No, you could die because you're not nutrient profiled correctly.
That's right.
This is serious stuff. So, what we're trying to offer is find the places where there's nutrient deficiencies. So that's why I was so excited about Lentine and our protein. Why I was so excited about ahi flour. Ahi flour is clinically proven 4 times more effective than flax, the #1 plant-based omega-3 selling in the world. When something's 4 times better than the #1 product, the most used product, there's a lot of people that can improve their health by simply taking this instead of this, And that's what I want to offer is let's find these amazing plants out there that can give us a big level up. Look, if you're eating, an Impossible Burger or whatever, you're not probably getting very much fiber with a white bun on it, It may taste good, it may be vegan, it may fill you up, but are you getting the nutrition? Starting your day out with clean green protein, 50% of your omega-3s in 1 scoop, 35% of your fiber in 1 scoop, lutein, antioxidants, all of these powerful nutritional tools in this box that comes in the whole plant. The reason it's green is because we use the whole plant. We don't isolate just out the protein and throw all the good stuff away, all the fiber, all the micronutrients. That's what most plant proteins are out there, is isolated just to their protein. Why? Because it's cheaper and because you're just getting the protein. And people think, protein is what I need. No, you need whole food nutrition. And I really wanted to do something in the plant protein space. It's a big space, but I think people are missing a lot of that. It's like, I compared some of those isolated proteins to Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread is you strip out all the fiber, all the, different good attributes of whole wheat bread. So it'll look pretty, it'll taste nice, it'll feel smooth, but is it nutritionally the right thing to do? And look, there's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of processed food every once in a while, having a vegan donut on fun, but make the mainstay and make sure you're covering your nutritional bases with some powerful, strong, amazing healing plants, and you're going to be better off because of it. You'll feel the difference.
One of the things that I get asked a lot about in this time, and people are hitting me up with DMing going, I got to get rid of this gut. Gut, and most of them are men over the age of 45, 50, and they're saying now that since COVID has hit, here comes the gut again. I have a client that I was with this morning, and he's gained the weight again, and it's going right here. So what words of inspiration can you help with guys who are dealing with the gut?
Yeah, so the first thing is watch emotional eating. We are in emotionally trying times. There's no 2 ways around it. You talked about that low-grade depression. You can choose foods that make you temporarily feel better, sweets, fattening foods. So sugar, salt, fat. And those are the 3. Those are 3.
You got to make your way in the room there.
So the food industry figured out a long time ago that our body measures sugar as a positive. And why was that? Originally, our DNA is set up to be attracted to fruit. The tree makes fruit sweet, makes it colorful so we can see it very easily, and makes it rich in nutrients. So that when we eat it and it's sweet, we'll want more because all the vitamins, all the antioxidants, there's they're the healthiest foods on the planet. And it builds in different phytochemicals to slow those sugars into our system. Did you know that, when I hear people like, oh, fruit makes you fat. No, it does just the opposite, actually.
Right.
There is a polyphenol in the skin of an apple. It's called floridzin. You can look it up. But it is actually now so powerful at regulating the sugar. So all of that sugar in that apple gets trickled in a little bit of it so our body can use it and not store it as fat. And that is so powerful, the medical world is now using it as a pharmaceutical drug to help diabetics.
Wow.
Apples to help diabetics.
And when Monk made me eat my kiwi with the skin on it, I will never ever not take my skin off. That was just life. That kiwi with skin on it gave me life, yo.
Totally. Nature has these things all built in, sugar, salt. We need salt because our whole electrical system, our whole network, our heart, our nervous system all runs on sodium ion. So I won't bore you with the science, but without enough salt, our heart stops, right? Now, on the flip side, too much salt has caused the number one disease on the planet, which is hypertension.
Wow.
So the food companies figured out, okay, and then fat. Why are we attracted to fats? Is because fats have about 2.5 times more calories than other carbohydrates or proteins. And so it's a good way to get calories. Right now, calories are so abundant to human beings, that's not a problem. But our taste buds were geared to be sugar, salt, fat receptive, positive receptive. Well, the food companies figured this out and said, okay, all we have to do is put more sugar, salt, and fat in everything, and everybody's going to keep wanting to eat them, right?
Yeah.
Potato chips, soda, this is all sugar, salt, or fat. I guarantee you every piece of junk food out on the market today, every fast food out on the market, look at those three things, sugar, salt, and fat, and you will see diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. Yeah. That's what they've created. Those are the three top diseases, cancer, heart attacks in there with it. But that's how we've created it in a business world to try to get people to consume more of their products to make more profits. They've actually caused all the major diseases in our modern society. And I want to do just the opposite. I want to give people products that actually support the body and bring it back into a homeostasis. Get people more centered on a whole food, plant-based diet. You can heal yourself. Yes. I guarantee you, if you go on a pure whole food, plant-based diet with a proper nutritional supplements, you will lose that body fat and your body will come into its proper body weight. Guaranteed. Now, you can't just consume a ton of calories, but look, have you ever tried to consume 1,000 calories of lettuce? You would be there all day long.
You throw up before you get 1,000 calories.
Exactly. It's nearly impossible. Nature's got it figured out for you. It'll fill you up before you overconsume. It's when we isolate these fats, right? Isolated fat is called oil. How many things have you seen with oil in it? Fried foods.
Yeah.
My wife is Puerto Rican. We walked by this little museum exhibit that showed Hispanic and Black slaves cooking all their food in oil, deep frying, right? Why did they do that? Because the food was spoiled. They were getting scraps. They were getting garbage, and right, from their slave owners. And they figured out in order to make it safe to eat, so there's no bacteria, no viruses, and no worms or bugs or parasites, deep fry it. And it's safe to eat. And that's how a lot of soul food is.
I never heard that one before, my brother.
That is how fried foods became part of that culture. It was a safety mechanism to keep the food safe to consume. It became so part of the culture, it became a cultural part. And now we need to get out of that. Fried chicken, all this stuff, that's deep fried. That history goes back to safety so that they wouldn't die from parasites, so they wouldn't die from the bacteria that was crawling all over the food or the worms. that was a safety mechanism that they learned.
God.
That's crazy.
Monk, for real though?
We didn't think that Geoff was going to come on here and teach us Black history.
It was a Black History moment.
Well, it was in every culture who has been oppressed, whether it's Indians and Native Americans and Hispanics and Blacks and even Chinese that were slaves in this country. Look, lots of people have been oppressed, and they've had to find ways to adapt. And that was one of the ways that cultures found to adapt, to make sure that the food wouldn't kill them.
Yeah, that's huge. Wow, I got to tell you, we are way over time, and that's okay because we need to go there. And I really feel like this is just a conversation we need to carry on, and I would hope that you would please come back. I mean, I have learned so much in this hour, Monk. Really, Geoff, this has been.
I told you.
I know you told me. How many times I have to tell you? I know you told me.
I told you, but you don't believe nothing, Skip.
I believe you, brother. I always believe, but I just got to give you a hard time sometimes and just kind of remove you out of the conversation. I gotta say one thing though, but I hope that everyone who's following the show, and a lot of people come on after the show and we review this, they really will get this information, understand, how important this nutritional game is right now. This conversation about nutrition is life. It is medicine. And wow, I mean, I'm really blown away. I am blown away. Where can people find you and the products? And I know a couple of places right now. I can pop this up here. Is Clean Machine Online. Tammy, did she give me that right?
Yes.
Tammy did good. Okay.
Yeah, so Clean Machine Online, you can check out our website. We post all of the ingredients, all of the science and the research. Everything is totally transparent for you to check out. All of our products are based on their original ingredients. We use the correct amounts. We show you the studies so that you can see the exact same amounts in the study that's used in the product, all the way across the board. Amazing plants. Check it out. Just do some education. And even if you don't choose to use supplements, please do try to keep up with the good information about nutrition. It is empowering. You take care of this, you can live a healthy, happy life, even though way late.
I know.
You gotta move over to the side so they can see it. We didn't get to see it.
Okay, wait.
There we go. That's a 57 years of age, right? 100% natural, no drugs, clean,
okay, so let's do it.
Oh, what?
Show.
I'm not throwing up my guns here.
Yeah, you can check us out.
Where you at, Skip? Come on.
Oh my God. I'm trying. I'm working. Geoff, he's trying to get me to train with him. He scares me though. I mean,
Geoff, he asked me to work with him.
And then I had another thought.
Completely was like, I'm cool.
I had to have another thought. I had to come to Jesus moment. This brother would probably kill me.
So that's a real workout. When you get with a good personal trainer like you or Corinne, man, when I work out with you guys, it's like, okay, that's a real workout. The rest of the stuff, that's maintenance.
I'm a spin person and a yogi. I'm a spin and a yogi all the way. I lift weights too, but not like this brother lift weights. He scares me.
Check us out on Clean Machine Fit on social media. That's Instagram and Facebook. Also, I'm Geoff Palmer, Geoff Palmer. So you can check me out on my social media page. I'm always posting the latest science and research to help you empowered and make the best decisions for you. Again, regardless of whether you're interested in our products or not, check out the research, check out the science. It is totally empowering. Once you know how to run this body better, you're going to enjoy it better. From your mood and mental health, your emotional health, and your physical health, they can all be improved through proper nutrition.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys, you can follow us. You know that you can get all your information at twoBlackAuthors.com, where you can find out where to follow Monk and social media and myself, Rev Skip. We have some other things that are coming up. This will also be available in the podcast where you can listen in your car and you can, catch all our past episodes that we're uploading now to a podcast. And that's going to be probably available within a month and a half. We're about to do our last couple shows for this season. We have 2 more shows, and then we'll do season 2. We will be back. So we have 2 more shows. And then if you're interested, and this is something that I believe in my own personal spiritual place, that we are kicking off some CARES yoga, and that's going to be on Monday mornings at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If you go to skipjennings.com, you'll find out more about CARES yoga. For the next 8 weeks, I believe that is going to be a part of meditation and yoga live with me, and I hope Monk is going to join us. But go to skipjennings.com, and that starts this Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. One thing I love about Monk, and I love about you, Geoff, that we are here with a purpose to shift this planet and the vibration that we are in the midst of right now. Thank you, brother, for the work that you do.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know you're a busy guy, and we had to catch you. We won't catch you again, though. This ain't the last time.
This is not the last time. Not the last time. So thank you so much. Hey, Monk, are we going to do the after show? IG?
What you want to do?
Let's do it. We're going to go to IG Live. So look at 2 Black authors, and we'll start up in the next 5 minutes, the after show. Peace and blessings, y'all. Thank you so much. We love you.